30 seconds and counting. At the match report, it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
What's up, folks? All right, so still getting ready in the background. This is the usual routine here. If you're listening to this video for any of my videos for the first time as far as build series, kind of run it like I do the show. There'll be a 5-minute countdown. It starts when that hits. That means I am live. When it hits 0, there's no going back. So give me another minute, kick the timer on, and then we're going to go right into it. And also, first-time viewers or anybody else that's listening or watching, whatever, these are only 1 hour long. I try to keep them about that. Maybe getting a little longer, 1:15, but I'm not going to go any longer than try to stay an hour. All right, today we're going to go over the RiteWing RiteSpec build part 2. That is what is on today's menu here at the drone hangar. But today it's not going to be a show. It's just me and pilot Shelby trying to give back and show everybody how I build my frames, and maybe it helps somebody else down the road. So. And also, I don't get into every single cut and every single gluing and every single thing. I'm showing you how to build and then leaving some of it for you to go do on your own. It's pretty self-explanatory. Cool? All right, give me about another minute and kick that timer on, and then we'll be live after that 5 minutes. All right, cool. Stick around. All right, cool. Here comes the timer. Been waiting long enough. Off we go. If it chops up, I'll try to fix it, but I can't promise anything. You know how I am. See you in 5.
tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a dream feel on a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for gold? Hot ashes and trees, hot air from a cool breeze, cold comfort to change. Did you exchange? Walk on hard in the wall for a hero in a cage. How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have we found the same old fear? Wish you were here.
What's up, everybody? Just getting closer to the weekend. Getting closer. Warming up. Gonna practice the buttons. Oh well, it's Thursday. It's practice day. Every day feels like a practice day. I'm on this damn show. Anyways, this really isn't the drone hanger. This is just me, Shelby the pilot, showing you some builds. I'm in the build mood. Don't know why. Just am. So we're gonna roll with it until it dies out, because it's going to die out, because if you've been following me, I don't like to build that much. Just don't. It just takes a long time. So, either way. So what we're going to be doing today is part 2 of the build series on the RiteWing RiteSpec V3. Sits at number 2 on my all-time favorite list of frames to fly. Right behind the mini drag. And it would literally beat the mini drag if it could hold an HD camera. But it wasn't ever designed for that, so that's what holds it back. Otherwise, I literally will fly this more than anything else. It gets more flight time from me. And then when it's down, then the mini drag steps up, and it gets a lot of flight time. There's a difference flying a mini drag versus flying a spec wing. Any of the spec wings, for that matter. I mean, it doesn't just have to be a RiteWing. this particular Spec wing flies like no other. So that's why, hey, keep building them. I have a bunch of them in the back, but they just smushed. Not worthy of flying anymore. Yes, I even have a standard. Yeah. Believe it or not, I do. So basically, when the nose gets so mashed and mushed and turns into like you can't put it back together at all, it just all the foam just becomes too deteriorated. It's time to retire it. But you can fly them for a long time, so it's kind of like a Toyota in a way. Just keep going and going and going and going and going. So first part, and these kits are very easy to build. So anyways, mini drac will get. My main point was the mini drac takes up more room, flies, needs more space. In the V3, you can fly in much tighter areas. You can fly at a much slower stall, gets to a lower speed before it stalls out of sky. So fly it slow, turn it really hard. It's very versatile, and it's a tremendous amount of fun. So when you're flying and you start getting to that inverted side of FPV with a wing, any of them, get a Spec wing, and I recommend getting a V3 RiteWing, RiteSpec. And they fly inverted almost damn same as they do right side up. So it just adds a whole new layer of flying FPV, and basically doing it like 3D, if you will. And it's super cool. Turns on a dime, just all over the place. And so those are two differences between the mini drac and V3. So. And the mini drac has its applications where it shines tremendously, and I've talked about it before, so I'm going to get it again. All right, we've already done assembling the frame, the halves. I talked about how Click will send these to you. They come with lamb, at least mine did. Mine came with lamb. And they're literally in the blocks in which they were cut from. So you need to use those. They will aid you in keeping the whole frame nice and true, the line all the way from tip to tip, nice and straight. Perfect. Works every time, and I'll show you over here in a little bit. And then I showed you the sparring and gluing method. So once you glue the halves together, the bays, tape the bays, line everything up, tape them up, and I'll show you here in a little bit more. But the main thing is you got to tape them so you can use those bays for the gluing method, and to hold the frame in place, keep it true. Because when you spar it, and using the sparring method that I mentioned, which is cutting out the channels a little bit deeper, widening it with a little screwdriver, run it through with your spar, seat it with your spar, dry fit it, pull it back out, and then do your glue. C8 in there, or a star bond, if you will, and put it in there. Fill the channel up, get that spar down in there. Make sure it dries off all the fumes, and then go over with E6000, and it should be down in there where applying E6000 will drop down in, make it, and fill the void, keeping the airframe nice and smooth. That's what you want. And if you haven't used E6000 much, this might be your first time using it. It does shrink, it's spread, and that's what's unique about it. And it will be like a rubber when you pull it off. It's like a rubber band if you ever have to take it off. But it really spreads out and evens out. So when using it, it's actually pretty good to fill in these channels. So there you go. So I'll show you what mine looks like. I did another layer of it right now. I needed to fill in some more voids. I let it dry overnight, but through the evaporation process of E6000, some little pockets formed again, so I had to go over again. You want to even it out and make it nice, smooth all the way across. It aids in making it strong. I mean, right now, that Spec wing is strong. No twist. I mean, it's insane. Once you get it sparred up, and it does not take long, instantly you feel how rigid it is. And then once you stick this lamb on now, talk about the lamb here in a sec. I might as well now. So I'm going to start doing the lamination process. But before we do that, I'm going to talk about, might as well bring it over. So, let's see if I can, the camera's over there. Anyways, here's mine. Blue's still a little tacky. Hopefully we can get to doing what I need to do. Oh, man. Sorry, I have been looking at the glue I just laid. Nice, 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 nice. All right. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about this. So the back. Yesterday I showed you how to spar the top. Okay, top's pretty self-explanatory. That's not really where the issues are that you need to pay attention to. When you spar the bottom of these is what you need to pay attention to. Okay, in the past, I'll admit it, I spar everything. We wouldn't cut nothing out. We wouldn't be putting these things in here, right? All this stuff. Right? And I just spar the whole damn thing, and I lam the damn thing, and then I go in back here and I cut all this out, and re-lam it. I mean, that's stupid. All right, but either way, I did it. Now, the way to do it is when you do the bottom takes a little more time. It's a little more intricate. You got to cut out a layer of this foam right here. It's along the edge, right? Right here. You got to cut it out. And there's a way to do it, and I should have shown you, but I didn't. You go about a 1/4 inch down from the top with a sharp razor blade. Go all the way around the inside of this bay, cut in, and then you cut down the pre-cut slots, and then pull it off. And it will allow this to sit flush. Okay, you want this in here. Don't go way deep. Just about a 1/4 inch. It's about the thickness of this is what you're wanting. And then you can lay this down. Okay, but you're going to spar. You got to work with the sparring. So I sparred everything. I cut everything out. Okay, cleared everything out so that these would sit properly. This one took a little more cutting to make these points sit a lot more flush with the frame, which they do. Before they were poking up. So dry fit everything, get it all fit, conform. So that makes sure when you're sparring, before you get here, this spar and this spar right here, right up front, make sure it's channeled down. So cut a little bit even deeper in your channel right here and push that spar down. And that'll allow you to push this tray in more, which will seat more flush with the airfoil. And that's what you want, especially on a Spec. Okay, so that's what I did. I glued everything down. Make sure all the rest of the sparring was done. Then I went at it with E6000. I'm going crazy with this nonsense, E6000. So that's the little more intricate part of sparring. I really should have gone over it in hindsight to show you. So, whole thing's sparred. Whole thing's completely rigid. It's what amazes me every time I do one of these. It's just, and the best way you can always tell is go all the way to the wingtips and start. Don't get nuts. To try, and it just doesn't move. It doesn't move, which translates to this thing holding on. It flies like it's on a rail. I'll also show you how to put in your motor mount. You could do that now. I probably won't do that now. What I'm gonna do is spar it. You can do it either way. You can do it before you lam it or after you lam it. It really doesn't matter. Just cut it even. The gist of it, when I will go over it, is measure between here and find the half, and find here and find the half, make 2 marks and line it across, and then line that bitch down there too. Okay, it should be all even, half and half. Bam. Like, not a 1/4 up here, like find the middle and make a mark, and find the middle back here and here, the exact middle, mark it, and then make your line all the way across, cut into there to the size of the motor mount that you have, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then fit it in there, and you can use hot glue. You can use E6000. Don't use CA glue. That won't work. I mean, it will, but it won't over time, so it gets really brittle and it breaks. You want the motor mount to stay. You don't want it to be moving around, so hot glue will not give you a lot of time. Give you some time to get it in there, line it up right. E6000 is going to give you a lot more time to wiggle it around and line it all up right. So make sure your cut's really proper when you do the motor mount. Let's see. So the gluing on the E6000, it's really hard to see in this video, especially with this camera, but the E6000, once you've laid these spars, right, we can go back to sparring now, you cut the channels, you can lay the spars down, and then you'll have a little gap. If you do it right, you'll have just a little bit of a gap from the spar and the top of the frame. What you do with that E6000 is lay a bead on there and just let the bead sit. Just a bead of it, not like you did on the mini track. It's a little different. On this one, you don't need as much, but you need a nice thin layer. So it's just like that caulking method. If you ever use caulking on your tub or, any kind of plumbing, so your bathrooms, same kind of principle applies. Squeeze and pull as fast as it's coming out. Okay, don't stall and make a glob. You want to keep moving. This one you want to move a little bit quicker to thin out that line. So on the mini track, you laid it kind of thick. This one you're going to lay a little bit thinner, so you're going to pull a little bit faster than it's coming out, and it'll lay a nice little bead across, and then you just let it sit. And what it will eventually do is it will drop into the cavity, expand out, and you have just enough in there, or it will expand out and then just lay flush with the frame. So there'll be no more gap, and that's exactly what happened right here. I didn't have to go over it and scrape it. Okay, some people do that, and they'll scrape across. I've done it too. The excess, but they do it too soon with the E6000. They haven't let it sit for long enough, and then they go, whoosh, and then the next thing you know, there's another void again. You're gonna have to do it again. So this one's just right. If it swells up anywhere in little spots, the heating iron for the laminate will actually take care of it, smooth it all out. Like there's just a little bit of excess right here. Looks worse in camera than it is in person. But it'll settle down. And all the channels are nice and filled in. Yeah. So now what that translates to is when I lay my laminate down, there's not going to be all these pockets. Sure, there's going to be some. But most of it will be nice and smooth all the way across. I might not be able to do any laminating because I've got to sand it. I've got to sand this. Yeah, I might be able to. I'll show you what I do. I won't be able to get to laminate, probably. We'll see. The reason why I say that is I got to let this glue dry before I start going at it. This is a big step. To make this stuff stick, meaning the laminate, better, there's a couple schools of thought. Now, if you're going to compete with your Spec wing, don't do the following. And the following would be, hey, if you're not going to race with it, do the following, which is use 3M 90 adhesive. You don't go nuts with it, just some of it. If you're going to paint it, you're going to want to put this stuff down a little bit too. It makes the paint stay and translates a little bit better. Put a little bit of this 3M90 at dusting, if you will, and then put your laminate down over the Seg glue. Now, if you're going to compete with this or a lightened version, don't do that. Don't use anything on this. Just glue it up and laminate it. That's it. You don't want all that extra weight. Maybe you do. Maybe I don't know how strong your competition is. Maybe that's the case. But in my case, nope. I got to fly against people like Blitz or Bond or you name it. Those are the people I have to compete against. So every little bit counts for me, unless it's windy. And so I do not spray any of my competition wings with 3M 90. Now, my practice frame, this one, it might get some. I don't know. I'm still kind of feeling it. But before we do any of that, the key what I'm getting to is you have to sand this frame. Sand the frame, get it all kind of rough, get the little hairs sticking back up. Okay, don't go nuts and changing the airfoil, but get it enough and get it, you'll feel it. It's kind of like soft and a little furry. And you want that to happen because that will allow, all those fibers will latch on to all this adhesive and the laminate. And that's what you want. So, now if you want a wall ornament, then you need to go see Mrs. Bandito FPV and she can tell you how to paint this schniz all up and then make it look all pretty and give it a name. I'm not that. Max is the only one I name. The rest of them are a tool and they serve a purpose. I need them to be absolutely smooth as possible, and that's why it's really weird. If I'm building a practice frame right here, I'm starting to go a little nuts like I do on my competition rigs because I built so many of them, and I got to sit here, and with those, I'm very detailed. I'm like, shit, every little bit counts. So I'm kind of doing it with this one. The intention of this one is not to ever race it, it's to actually just practice with it and have fun with it. But absolutely practice. Either way, looks good. I guess I can sand a little at the bottom and see if I can't get some of this to work. I don't want to mess up my glue. So ideally, let all the glue like fume off, and then you can start going at it. See if I can get some of it. What did I say this was? 60 grit. I am not pressing on this. I don't feel comfortable. But see, I can't stick it in the bay either. Damn it. Because of the glue. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can do it like this. You don't have to stick it in the bay. However you feel comfortable. So what you're going to see on the frame, to give you a little visual, is on the frame it's going to be a little glossy, and that's from the cutting. Okay, so that's when they cut it. So it's going to leave a little bit of a sheen, if you will. Get rid of the sheen. So you've got rid of the sheen, you've sanded it properly. So right here, I've already gotten rid of it. It's kind of hard to tell. The camera can't really translate that, but you also feel it. See, it's all fresh and harsh noise. Oh, by the way, since we're sitting here cooking with Shelby, started a new drone job today. Don't know if I can talk about it yet. If I can, I'll spill the beans. But I don't know yet. I had to check my contract. But it did start today, so even Shelby's going out there and getting some of that. Get you some. It's to be had, go get. All right, so there you go. I know, again, it's hard to translate this or visually get you to see this and for me to articulate it properly. But this side has been completely glued properly. All of the channels are filled in nice and smooth, like they are. Just butter right here. Can't wait to get this lamb on here. And now I've gotten rid of the sheen. Wingtips. So what ended up, at least for me, is I always forget these damn wingtips all the way to the tip. And inevitably, the lamb right there starts to act all squirrely on me. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this. Just enough. Now, using a rough 60 grit. That's it. Doesn't take much. Done. You just look at it and you'll see all the little teeny hairs. You're not wanting to be completely jacked up. Just get rid of the sheen. Get a little fuzz on there. And off you go. I don't know if I can do it this way. So you can. I'm right-handed. If I try to do it left-handed, I'll look all more stupid than I normally do. All right. Ideally, wait for it to glue and then just sit it in the bay. Remember those bays that we made? Yes. Sit it back in there and sand it that way. I'm doing this with Sacrificial Lamb. Doing this in front of the microphone on the GYSOT mic. I promise you this thing's going to fly amazing. I mean, unless I totally jack it on lamination process, which you can, by the way. This thing is going to fly. Yeah. I swear it's the biggest problem is it just does not have the ability to get like real HD footage, you know? Not 360, not that Insta 360 nonsense. Because that just, it eventually whips it around. I want, you know, just like my Hero 7's been doing. I want that on here. All right, checking for that sheen. Looking for the hairs. I'm talking about this very teeny fuzzies. Like this is not, it's not all big. They're not jacking up like high, like a quarter inch. They're super small. Getting those edges. That leading edge. Make sure I don't hit any of that glue. Now, some people do this on their mini Drax too, by the way. They'll sand it. Okay, don't go nuts. Remember what I said. Just get the sheen off, and that's it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Just go there and feel it. Take your time when you're building. Like I think you hear it a lot if you're following any of us. Each wing turns into its own little animal, right? It's got its own character. Through the build process, if you do it right, you know, you start to become like, I hate sounding like, hey, let's have a, you know, weird moments, but it's like you become one with the frame. You start learning about the frame. You really do. You start getting attached to it. You start envisioning how it's going to fly. You're like, this might fly pretty damn well. Touch that damn glue. I can feel it. But you do. You start to really learn the frame and any of its quirks that it might have along the journey of getting built. And right now, none. That's what I like to hear. The line is straight on this. And be honest, if it's not, it's not. So you got to be checking your line the whole time while you're building this. Like I think I've said this multiple times on other builds in the past. I'm always looking down the front leading edge. And I'm always checking for twists throughout the whole sparring method, all the way through laminate, till I start putting electronics. I'm making sure this thing is straight. because when it is straight, you know, if you've flown one of these and they've been built properly, how they fly. For instance, Marty Booth's, his frame is the one I flew in the last video that I posted, the latest one. And I know it's DVR footage, and that's why I say HD. That's his frame. He built it. I just got to fly it. And look, there you go. Built properly, that frame flies the same like the one that I built. Just got to build it right. And man, they are amazing. Just, the things that this thing can do is just stupid. A wing shouldn't fly like this, but it does. So there you go. Standing, showing the sparring, showing the importance of back here on the bay covers. What you can do, and what I will do, is notch out these servos right now. Go ahead and do that. Thought I was going to end, though. I'm going to go ahead and notch the bottom right here. I'm going to just show you the gluing method for this. I even have a laminate iron set. Yeah, there goes my chair. But we're probably not going to get the laminate. But I'll show you what we do here on the bay covers. I should have left the camera over here. First of all, cut them out. Then what I'm talking about, I say bay covers, I'm thinking mini drag. The servo holes, they're pre-cut. Just got to pop them out. That's a little different. It's got a little angle on the corners. I guess for the spar. I don't know. Anyways, cut out. Nice and easy. If you're finding cutting this out difficult, it's not the frame for you. All right. Boom. It's almost like a pumpkin. Bam. All right. Yeah. I can see you. All right, here we go. Bay covers. You can use hot glue for this. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever your preference. Do I have these cut, or do I have to cut these bastards? Nah, I gotta cut them. A little more arts and crafts here for you. Some good sizors. Lay these out. So you're gonna have to cut them a little bit. Let me check the top here. Okay, look at that. Go figure that out. That's kind of funny. All right. So the method that I do is as follows. I'll cut this out, but I will cut it out just slightly bigger than the hole on one side. I want it to grab a little bit. You definitely have to cut this corner right here. This corner has to get cut off. All right, so actually just cut the corner and you're done. Pop right in. Boom. All right, same thing, this side. Just cut the corner and you should be fine. That works. Done before. A little bit bigger than it should be. It's all right. All right, these all nice and flush. Now you can tack these down with hot glue on the inside if you want, make life a little simple. Okay. So if you so choose, I'm gonna go a little bit on the extravagant side. I'm gonna drop some E6000 in there. Main reason is because my hot glue's not on, so this is what I got. This side's still gluing. It's set for a while, so we're good. All right, just make sure it's flush on the bottom. That's the key. So before you drop it, glue it on. All right, cool. Remember, E6000 will keep it upright like this. It will drop down as it evaporates. During the evaporation process, it spreads around, fills in all the voids, and then evaporates and shrinks and then kind of pulls in. So that's what E6000 does. Got a little goopy hoo right here. I need to fix that. And then we'll go upside it here real quick. Because I'm going to make sure it's nice and flush. Up and down. Up and then down. And what I'm saying is I popped it out a little bit and then pushed back in and let it sit. Going slow. So I kind of popped it out the top here and pushed it back in and let it settle down. Doesn't move around much. Same thing over here. All right, good. Bang, done. Let me drop the glue on that one. Cool. There it is. I know, right? What? What is? I can see nothing, Shelby. Because your camera placement sucks. Yeah, that's true. The bottom line is, this I can do. I'll show you down there. It's along the walls right there. Same right here. Hopefully you can get it a little bit in there. And that's it. Just monitor the. Make sure you cut the little corners. Don't overdo it. Because I can see you again. And that's it. And that's not rocket science. Stick it upright, let the glue go and settle down in the bay, and it'll form once it's done and evaporates. Theoretically, what it'll do is just make a nice uniform seal. You're good to go. Do those ever pop out? I have never had one of them pop out, so whatever. Now, when we get to, well, I'm not going to get to that, but there are different methods in which people put their servos in here. So some people bury their control rod through the frame. Rotor does that. When Rotor builds for me, for my competition rigs, so that's what Rotor does for me, besides being my buddy, he builds my frames, and he puts that in there. Why does he do that? Because it reduces drag. Every little bit helps when you're fighting against people like Blitz and Bond and Van Gogh and everybody else. So, everybody else. They're like, just that little bit more, less drag, just a little bit more speed. Races are literally won by 0.03 of a second in this sport. So, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry because the top doesn't need to cure properly. I'm not trying to rush this, even though we are live. So this will be a very short part too, I guess. Correct? When we come back tomorrow, because I will be live tomorrow, we're going to do the lamination process. I'm going to show you how to properly laminate a V3, get the best rigidity out of it, and not it be a taco. We don't want twist in it, right? It's really looking good. Am I going to paint this, in case anybody asks? The answer is no. I don't paint my Spec frames. Do not paint them. It's more weight. It's not needed. I don't care. Show up. I mean, shit, some of the best frames I've ever seen, Hugo Salinas, he's built when he built RiteWings. Some of his were naked, and they look beautiful. Like super awesome. So they look really good naked, as we say, especially these. Like I'll see in all those spars. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this sit for another couple hours. Then I'll get back to sanding when you come back tomorrow. Probably have one part of this laminated. Again, this frame does not take a long time to laminate, and nor build from beginning to end. We're just kind of chopping this up into bits and pieces. It really isn't that hard. Since I got your attention, a couple things. The Wings simulator that we've been talking about on the show, and I've been like just simping over, is the its release date, which is October 3rd, I think it was, right? I think I'm right. But either way, it's October 2nd or 3rd, so it's coming right up, around the corner. It's going to get released. It's going to have online multiplayer. They're going to have a leaderboard, I think, the whole 9 yards. I can't wait. Tremendous amount of fun. So you can go and race me with, I don't think they have RiteWings in them yet, but they have TBRC frames, Spec frames in there, a number of other manufacturers, VAS's Spec frames in there. So you'll be able to race against myself and Blitz and Bond and the other top pilots that you know from around the world that compete and do this on the regular, on the main stage. You'll be able to race against us. And we look forward to it. The more the merrier. Let's build the sport, and this platform is where it's at. So share it out with friends. Let them know you'll be able to. It's PC right now. I don't know if they're going to go and try to port it over to a Xbox type style like DRL has just done. So either way, if you have PC, you're golden. It will take your controller, so that's even more of a plus. So you need to fly with your true sticks. In the game, I've tested the alpha or beta. I can't remember. I think it was the alpha. Very rough cut, and it was amazing. So, if you want to race us, at least virtually, while there currently aren't any really competitions going on this year right now, I think everything will pick up again 2021, which I will be competing in. You'll be able to do this at least virtually. We'll be able to race and compete on that leaderboard. So don't miss out on that. Cool? Awesome. I'll give you an applause, but I don't want to get to the phone right now. It's been ringing, and I know I have to definitely go take another call or call somebody back. These Spec Wings right here, all of them, do not take a long time to build. And they are economical. And if you're going to get a Spec frame, get the Spec motor. T-Motor makes the Spec motor. Get an ESC that works for it. There are recommendations for ESCs. They've found that some that work better than others with said motor. Just go on the FPV-WRA page and on the interwebs and look out for all the information. And there you get all your components. I'll show you the servos that I use. But it's really, make sure you have a 3-cell, the motor by T-Motor, an ESC, and you're off to the races. And that literally, when we start racing again. So electronic-wise, I don't really need to get in depth with, so I don't need to really show you everything about it. But these are really easy to build. You build them in a day, honestly. Get it all done, glued up, well, one full day, and come back the next day. 24 hours, how's that? You can get one built and be done, ready to fly it. Because once you laminate it, you don't have to wait for anything else. Just do the elevons, throw in your 2 servos, throw the powertrain in, your FPV gear, and off you go. You're done. It does have winglets. Yeah, it has winglets. Yeah, right here. So, the winglets, we'll get those on at the very end. I do these on my Spec Wing at the very, very end. That lets me know, hey, we're done. It's time to fly. All right, cool. I'm going to keep this one short. That's pretty much it. So, tomorrow, same time, I'm going to be shooting for these 1 o'clock starts. They seem to work out with my schedule during the day. And when I get a chance, I'll tell you about the job I got. Yeah. And Backpack Murray's coming out here. He's got to look over some information. We'll find out what I can talk about. So, until next time, remember, guys and gals, get you some of that. Be nice to one another. Love you all. See you tomorrow.